Hello students, hope you are doing good. In the previous video, we solved section A of the additional sample question paper issued by CBSE for the session 23-24. Now, it's time to solve section B of the same sample paper. So, without much delay, let's get started. Alright then, let's read the question number 19. Write 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages of circuit switching. Let's go through the answer which is given in the marking scheme. I hope you know what is circuit switching. In case of circuit switching, there is a direct connection or dedicated path is established between sender and the receiver. To understand this concept, you can take example of telephone line. So here are some of the advantages. A dedicated communication channel increases the quality of the communication. As there is a dedicated path, a separate path for the communication, it increases the quality. The second advantage can be it is suitable for long continuous communication because it doesn't face any disturbance, any interference. Now moving ahead to the disadvantages. First is resources are not utilized fully. How? Let's understand. Suppose you called a friend but at the same time you got some emergency work and asked him to wait. So at this moment there is no exchange of information but still line is busy. The second disadvantage is time required to establish the physical link between two stations is too long. Yes, it takes time to put the physical line between sender and the receiver. This is a theory question, you can write your own answer too. Time to check out the or part of the same question. Differentiate between web server and web browser. Write the names of any two web browsers. We all are familiar with the relationship between server and the browser. It is a client-server technology. Alright then, let's check out web browser. It receives and displays web content. What is its function? Initiate request to web server and displays the content for the user. Browser will send request to the server. Server will process that request and delivers the content to the browser and the browser will then display it. Then let's check out about web browser. What is the purpose? It delivers content to the client. And what's the function? It listens to the incoming request, processes them and send the requested content to the client. This is nothing but the concept of client-server technology. And here are some of the names of the web browser. Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or you can write Microsoft Edge 2. So that was another question based on networking concept. It's a theoretical concept, you can write your own answer too. But the concept should be clear. Moving ahead to the next question, we have to rewrite the code by removing all the syntax error. The correction which we'll be doing in the code should be underlined. These type of questions are easy. If you know the answer, you can skip this portion. Let's start from the first statement. This looks okay. Look at the second statement now. When we look at the keyword while, we notice that W is capital. So that's the first error. In this way we got the first error. We will be correcting it, underline it and it will be good if you will mention it also. Whenever we use any looping statement or conditional statement to create block, we write colon. So that is also an error. We should be correcting it. The block of while got created and if we look at the next two statement, it should be a part of that block. That's why the indentation of these two statements should not be in line with while. Proceeding to the next statement. Else is a keyword but E is not capital. So correct it and that is also one of the error. E is capital. In this way we detected all the error. So you need to detect 4 errors. You will be getting half mark for each error. Now let's read the next question. We will be writing one user defined function named displayBook which takes parameter as books. Books is a dictionary. Now what that function will be doing? It will be displaying the name of the books but the condition is the name should start with the consonant. As you all know, alphabets are divided into two categories, vowels and consonants. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U and the other than vowels will be consonants. So from dictionary we will be printing the name of the books like Python and networking. These are the name of the books which are not starting with the vowels. and we have to keep in mind that the names are in uppercase. Alright then, it's time to code. According to the instructions, we have taken one dictionary and created the user defined function that we are calling. Now let's write the code in the user defined function. We are interested in the values of the dictionary. How to access the values of the dictionary? Let's iterate over each value. For take any variable item in the name of the dictionary is books, and we will be using values function to access the values of the dictionary. In this way we will be iterating over all the values of the dictionary. Let's print and check it whether we are getting values or not. For that we have used the variable item. Let's run and check it. You can see the output. We are getting all the books name, that is the values of the dictionary, but we don't have to print all the books name. Now let's check the criteria. Then what's the criteria? The criteria is book name should start with the consonant. So for that we need to check only the first alphabet. Anyhow we are getting the items in the form of string, so let's extract the first alphabet using the index. So at the 0th index we will be getting first alphabet. Let's make sure that we are getting the first alphabet or not correctly. So from the output we could see that we are getting the first alphabet of book name. Now we have to check whether it is a consonant or not. It will be easy to check this that it is not a vowel. Let's remove these two statements and apply if condition. If first not in operator we will be using here. And here in the form of string we will be mentioning all the vowels. As the first letter is in uppercase, we will mention only uppercase vowels. Hope you got this condition. First of all we will be getting P. It will check that P is not in A, E, I, O, U. If it is not in A, E, I, O, U, we have to print that book name. And while printing we have to convert it to uppercase. The complete book name we are getting in the items variable, that we will be converting to uppercase. Let's run this program and check the output. You can see here we are getting the required output. The book's name starting with the consonant, that too converted to uppercase. Now you can also try yourself. In the marking scheme the code is given like this. If you understood this, you can go ahead or you can write in your own way. Now it's time to check out the OR part of the same question. Here is the user defined function name find word. It takes two parameters. The first is string and the second is search. We need to write the code for this function in which we are going to count the occurrence of the word search in the string. What exactly we have to do, you will understand with this one example. Here is the string and the search word is history. So in the given string we could see the history word occurs thrice, that we have to print. This should be our output. Okay, to write code we are in the IDE. Whenever we need to write code in which we have to count the words or display the words of the string, first of all we need to split that string. And to split the words of the string we have split function. The name of the string is string dot split. By default it will split based on space. Here we will be getting one list of the split words. Now we will be iterating over the list. So for word in words list. From the given string we need to check the occurrence of the word history. So let's compare that word is equals to history or not. So for that we will be using if statement. If word is equals to history. All the history words are in lower case. So no need to bother about the case sensitivity. Okay, now first let's make sure that we are getting the words correctly or not. From the output we could see that we searched the history word correctly. It is 3 times, but we don't have to print it. We have to print the occurrence of the history word. Let's take one variable count equals to 0, and if we will get that word we will be incrementing it by 1. So count plus equals to 1. Let's comment this print statement. After iterating through the whole list we need to print it. So it will be at the indentation level as for. Let's check the exact wordings for the output. The word history occurs 3 times. So let's write the required statement. The word history occurs, comma, the name of the variable where we are counting is count, and then again we need message times. Let's check the output. So here is the required output. The word history occurs 3 times. Instead of history, you can write the variable name search2. When we look at the question, there is one more thing mentioned here. Write appropriate statement to call the function. So we need to write the statements to call the function also. As this user defined function is taking 2 arguments, so we should pass that parameters. The first is string that we have mentioned, and the search word also we have provided. And here is the call statement. For the search word, you can even take input instead of initializing it. Hope you understood this code too. Try it yourself. Here is the code for the same in the marking scheme. Whichever you feel easy, you can go ahead with it. In this way, the coding part is over. Now let's move ahead to the next question, that is 22nd. What will be the output of the following code? We can find out the output of this code easily with the dry run. So let's go through the code. One list is initialized along with one variable named G. After this, directly the control will come to the call statement. L is getting passed to the user defined function named change. So L will become X. With the global word, we are accessing this variable G inside the function. So the value of G will be 4. In the next statement, we are calculating the length of X. Length of X means length of L. There are 4 elements in the list. So N will be 4. Look at the next for loop. For I in range N. N is 4. So the value of I will be from 0 to 3. Now let's evaluate this expression. X of I is equals to X of I plus G. So in the first pass, the value of I is 0. So X of 0 plus G. Look at the element at the 0th index. It is 5. So 5 and G is 4. It will become 9. In the same way, we will be calculating for the other values of I. In the second pass, the value of I will be 1. At the index 1, we have element 10. So 10 plus 4 will be 14. Moving ahead to the third pass, the value of I will be 2. At the second index, we have element 15. Then it will be 15 plus 4, that is 19. Moving ahead to the next pass, the value of I will be 3. At the index 3, we have element 1. 1 plus 4 will be 5. All the iteration got over, we will come back to the main program. There is one more for loop. For I in L. Means we are iterating through the list elements. Now the list elements are 9, 14, 19 and 5. Okay, let's check out the print statement. What we are going to print. So first element of the list will get printed, followed by dollar symbol. Okay, then tell me what will get printed. The first element is 9, then dollar symbol. The second element is 14, then dollar symbol. Again the third element is 19, followed by dollar symbol, and finally 5 will get printed, and at last the dollar symbol will get printed. In this way we will be getting this output. Hope you understood this explanation. In this code, we were passing list to the user defined function, and the changes made inside the user defined functions are getting reflected back to main. Why? Because lists are mutable. When we pass list as an argument to the user defined function, it creates a reference. That's why when we modify the list, it will be visible outside the function also. You know one thing, if we pass immutable data type to function, the changes will not reflect back to main. With that note, let's check out the next question. This is very easy, you can try it yourself. If you know the answer, you can skip this part. Here we will be writing Python statements for the following task. The first is to delete an element Mumbai 50 from dictionary D. I will be taking answer from the marking scheme. It's so easy. We are using del statement. What's the syntax? We need to write the dictionary name and in bracket we will be mentioning key. So the name of the dictionary is D and the key is Mumbai. Because it is clearly mentioned here as a key value pair. So Mumbai is the key. Moving ahead to the next task, to display words in a string S in the form of list. Just now we wrote one code in which we were trying to search for the word history. So we know if we want to split the words of the string, we will be using split function. That's why we will be writing s.split. S is the variable in which string is stored. Now let's discuss the OR part of the same question. Write a Python program to display alternate characters of a string. The name of the string is myString. Here is a given example. The given string is computer science and we will be printing the alternate character from the given string. Let's write the program directly in the IDE. Here is the given string. To print the alternate character, we will be doing slicing of the string to print alternate characters that we will be storing in a new variable. We will be writing the name of the string on which we are applying slicing. From the given output, it is clear that we are scanning the whole string. That's why we will be skipping the starting part and the ending part too. And the third part is the step part. For that we will be writing 2. We know that in case of step we don't include the upper limit. So the step will be 1. Means we will be skipping the alternate character from the string. The next task is to print that string. So let's write the name of the string where we are getting the alternate characters. Amazing! We got the required output. So this was the program to print the alternate characters of the string. Hope you are enjoying this session. Alright then, let's move ahead to the next question. Differentiate between % and underscore character which is used with the like operator with appropriate examples. You can very well understand the answer from the marking scheme. You know with the like operator when we use % symbol, it will match any number of characters. So that is the first point. It matches any sequence of characters. You can consider any example. T% means the string will start with T with any number of character. And what about underscore? It matches only a single character. The first character can be anything, the second character also can be anything, but the third character should be T. So with this pattern matching, you will be getting the words like this: cat, mat. First letter can be anything, second can be anything, but the third should be T. That was also quite simple. Let's move ahead to the last question of the section B. Always read the question carefully. There are two commands with the reference to a table. The table name is employee and the column name is department. So here are these two statements where we could see count star and the count function is used. Let's check the question. If these two commands are producing different results, what may be the possible reason? Which command A or B might be giving higher value? I know you all are familiar with the difference between count star function and the count function. Count star function counts all the rows of the table including null also. Where count function we apply on a particular column and it will not consider null values. Let's read this answer also from the marking scheme. Count star returns all the rows in a table, whereas count function is used with the column name passed as an argument and counts the number of not null values. Hence the result will differ. Yes, we know that the result will be different. And there is one more question, that which function will give the higher value. As count star will count the null values also, ultimately it will be giving the higher value. Oops, we forgot to check out the OR part of the 24th question. So let's read it. The difference between drop and delete command. We discussed some MySQL Viva questions. In that we discussed the difference too. But let's check out once again. Moving to the marking scheme. We use drop command to remove the table. Even it is used for deleting the database. It will be good always to write the example. Drop table student. It will remove the student table from the database. Now what about delete command? Delete command is used to delete the rows from the table. Take any random example. Delete from student where percentage is less than 33. It will remove all the records of the students having percentage less than 33. So in this way we completed section B. Hope you understood all the concepts. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and share with your friends. In the next video we will be solving section C of the same sample paper. Until next time, keep studying, stay healthy. I will see you in the next video.